and welcome to Wellness Wednesday, where I give you tips, ideas, and encouragement on how you can live a love-fueled and healthy life. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ana Maria, and today I'm going to be talking with you about how to stay healthy when you are limited on time and have a limited budget. So this was a topic that was suggested to me by a dear friend, so I want to be sure to answer it, but it is also a topic that is very dear to my heart. There is an idea out there that being healthy is expensive, time-consuming, and difficult, and one of my main goals and main missions as a health coach is to dismantle that belief, because being healthy can be cheap, easy, and fast. So it's also something that is very close to my heart, also because I've had to learn to be healthy in certain time constraints and on a very difficult budget. And I know it's something that we all have struggled with. I mean, who is not busy these days and who doesn't want to save an extra buck? So I want to share a little bit of my personal story with you about how I learned to be healthy on a budget and with limited time. So the first year out of college, I was living in the same town that I went to college in, which is a food desert. So there were not a lot of food options. There was a lot of fast food, and I got all of my 80% of my grocery shopping done at Walmart, and the other 20% I got done at a natural food store I was really lucky enough to work at. And during this time, I was also working from 4:30 in the morning, or actually I was waking up at 4:30 in the morning, going to work at 5:30, working for 8 hours at a bakery. I was going to class, I had homework, and then late into the evening I was working on starting a nonprofit, and I was not getting paid for that. I was getting paid at the bakery, but it was only minimum wage. So I think the most I made was like $8.75 an hour, and this was at the very end. So I was honestly relying on food stamps to live and to buy groceries, and I was still cooking pretty much all of my meals. Now, the little catch to this period is also that during this year, I decided that I was going to go 100% plant-based vegan. So I didn't eat any animal products, and what this also means is that I primarily ate plants, and if something didn't grow, I did not eat it. And this means that I had to put extra thought in the beginning to how I was going to make nutritious meals that would last all day, and that still allowed me to get all the nutrients I needed. And I learned a lot from that year. So even though I don't eat 100% plant-based vegan now, I am a lot more flexible. I learned so much, and I learned how to prepare easy, cheap meals that were very quick to make and very delicious. So I want to share some of the wisdom that I learned from that year that I use to this day that helped me stay healthy on a budget and in a time crunch that I hope are helpful for you too. So the first tip I have for you is to prepare meals in bulk when you have a day off. So when you have an extra hour or two on the weekend, or maybe your day off is during the middle of the week, use that time, or use some of that time, to make a really delicious meal that can last at least 3 to 4 days. So things that I like to cook are really yummy curries, or stir fry, or pasta but with a lot of veggie sauces, things like that that can last for a while and that you really, really adore. And this is going to help you when you come home exhausted from work and you don't want to think about it, you don't have time to cook, you have other chores to do, and you can just reach in the fridge and pull something out and eat it. You are going to feel so much better. So use your time wisely in that sense. Keep in mind also that learning how to prepare some vegetarian or even vegan dishes is going to really help you too, because it will last a lot longer. So things like beans and rice are going to last a lot longer than, something with eggs or chicken or milk in it. And this also leads me to, if you don't want to prepare a full meal, consider just making a big pot of rice that you can incorporate into a lot of other meals, or a big pot of beans that you can also use into different meals. Maybe you have some in the morning with some eggs, and then at lunch you have some tacos, and then at night you have rice and beans, or something like that. The second tip I have for you is to buy convenient produce. So what I mean by this is don't overlook buying frozen vegetables and fruit and canned foods as well, because those will really help save you time. And the great thing about frozen produce in particular is that a lot of these vegetables and fruits are picked at the peak of ripeness, so they still retain a lot of their nutrients. And obviously buying fresh is best, but to be honest, if you're not buying from a farmer's market or somewhere where you absolutely know that it's fresh and it's local, a lot of times fresh produce is picked before it's ripe and then in transportation has to ripen, but then it isn't allowed to mature fully and develop all the nutritious content that it needs. So buying frozen is always a good option, especially off season or if you have to buy at big supermarkets. You know, I don't know if I mentioned this in the beginning, but you know, I bought a lot of my food from Walmart that first year out of college and still found some really great items. I definitely recommend looking for items that only have the ingredient as the vegetable, that don't have any added sodium. So look for labels that say no sodium, no sugar for fruits, and that don't have any preservatives. Also buy organic when you can, of course, and same with canned foods. So I tend not to buy as many canned vegetables, but I do like to buy canned proteins, so things like beans and chickpeas or even sardines, things like that, that can be really high in protein and high in nutritious content. And again, with these things, you want to look for items that have no sodium added or low sodium and that don't have a lot of extra added stuff in them. And when you're preparing it, just be sure to rinse it off and do a nice thorough wash of it, because that'll help to dilute some of the sodium if it is added on, and it will also help to get off a lot of the preservatives that are there that can have a negative effect on your stomach and just not make you feel so good. I also recommend buying pre-cut vegetables and things that are really easy to just grab from the supermarket. Even if they are a little bit more expensive, I guarantee you it will be cheaper than buying a fast food meal, not just in cost, but also because it will make you feel better to eat something delicious rather than fast food. The cost is much greater in terms of how you feel energetically afterwards and just feeling weighed down. So you have to kind of outweigh the cost on those ends. So buy pre-cut vegetables, especially things that are harder to prepare. So I love to buy pre-cut butternut squash because that can be kind of a pain to cut up, or even pre-cut celery and carrots that I can have on hand as a snack. Those are really great options. If you are a meat eater, I really love to buy like a full rotisserie chicken every now and then, not every week, but maybe every other week, because that lasts for a few meals. And if you know, I don't eat it all, I can always incorporate it into other meals as well. So again, things like tacos or sandwiches or wraps or salads, things like that. And a lot of places I've seen, you know, local markets or even Whole Foods, they usually have deals during the week where they'll have a discount. So maybe on Thursdays, rather than $10, it's $7. So you could even make a little event on that, like, hey, Thursday's our rotisserie chicken night, and it can be really fun. So definitely look out for that. The third tip I have for you is to have at least 2 go-to meals that you can make in a flash and that are versatile and delicious. So my go-to meals are tacos and Buddha bowls. And tacos are such a wonderful meal. They're gluten-free if that's an issue for you. They're delicious and you can literally put anything in them. So when I was a senior in college, I actually had to take a semester off to work and go back to school. And almost every night, because I was living with my aunt and uncle in Chicago, and my aunt was always working pretty late, so it was up to my uncle and I to make dinner, and we had tacos every night. And that was one of the first things he told me when I moved in. He was like, Anna, if you learn to cook anything, just make sure it's tacos, because you can make anything out of them. And he is totally right. You can put in those black beans that you got canned, some rice that you prepared in bulk, you can add in chopped veggies, you can literally make anything. You could even scramble up some eggs and make breakfast tacos for dinner. The options really are limitless. I also love Buddha bowls, and if you haven't heard of Buddha bowls are called Buddha bowls because they're a bowl of delicious goodness that are overfilling with yummy stuff, and they make a little peak that resembles Buddha's belly. And so the formula for this is essentially having one grain, having a protein, and then adding all the veggies you want. And if you are gluten-free, or maybe you don't have time to cook a grain, or you didn't prepare a grain before, like rice, quinoa is an excellent option for this. It literally only takes 15 minutes to cook, which is amazing, and it's also a complete protein. It's gluten-free. It's a complete protein, meaning that it has all the essential aminos that you need. And it's one of the only plant-based items that has this. So it's a great option to have for Buddha bowls. And then you can add in your chickpeas, spice it up with some curry, spice it up with some paprika, add in chopped tomatoes, chopped cucumber, lettuce, anything you want. And again, the options are limitless with this. Have fun, play with it, get creative, and try to find ones that you really, really love. Some other options, you could experiment with making burritos or pastas that have sauces that are really high in vegetables. Stir fry is another great option to use your frozen vegetables. You can add in some scrambled eggs or tofu. Things like that are going to be really excellent. Also, edamame is a great one to add into stir fries or Buddha bowls. The last tip I have for you is to just be easy on yourself. We all aren't perfect, or nobody's perfect is a better way to say it, I guess. And I guess the main point is to just find balance on days that you are not working, or you don't feel busy, or maybe you are on holiday. Use that time to eat mindfully and healthfully, and instead of taking the route of saying, okay, this time I'm going to indulge, maybe use that time to say, hey, during this time I'm really going to treat my body right and eat mindfully and do what's best for me, because I know during the work week or during the school week, I'm really bogged down. I just want to eat fast food. I slip up. I'm more susceptible to that. So on these off days, I'm going to really eat healthy and find balance. And that's really what it's all about. Don't feel bad if you're not eating healthy 100% of the time. It's more important that you take care of yourself and that you're kind to yourself and that you're easy on yourself. So I really hope that these were helpful to review if you fast forwarded or just joined now. The 4 tips I have for you for eating healthy in a time crunch and on a budget are to prepare in bulk when you have a day off, to buy convenient produce, so don't overlook frozen produce or canned vegetables and beans and chickpeas and things like that, and try to find pre-cut vegetables that are easy to prepare in a pinch and that you don't have to put a lot of thought into. And lastly, on days when you're not busy, focus on eating healthy and mindfully to bring balance to the days during the work week or when you're really busy and not able to eat as healthily. So I hope you find these helpful, and I would love to hear which one you find most enticing and that you want to incorporate. What is your biggest takeaway? Be sure to send me a message or leave a comment. I would love to hear from you what you learned and what you are going to incorporate in your day-to-day life for being healthy in a time crunch and on a budget. And lastly, I've been working on something very exciting, which I'm going to share with my newsletter subscribers this weekend, and that is a self-love starter kit. So I've put a lot of love and energy into this. It is full of journal prompts to get to know yourself, activities that help improve your self-love and your relationship with yourself, and overall is just loaded with positivity and motivation and love. And if this is something that excites you and you want to get your hands on, be sure to sign up for my newsletter by going to the link in my bio or going to the link that I will provide on my Facebook post. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Wellness Wednesday. Have a great day. Adios.